Good morning, everyone. How are you? Welcome to my back deck. I'm out here this morning chatting with you because I'm going to be out here later on. Time to do a little bit more preparation of flower beds. My son's going to come home and maneuver some mulch around for me, but I thought I'd sit down and chat with you about some reflections I had about Mother's Day. Anyhow, this happens to be my 30th year as a mother. I am so very, very grateful to have lived out one of my lifelong hopes, desires, dreams. I always wanted to be a wife and mother and an educator, and I've gotten to be all three of those roles, but love being a mother. Thank you to all my children for that honor of being your mother. I love you all very much. I'm Kathleen, and this is my channel. It's called Kathleen at Home, and I'm so glad you stopped by today. If you are a mother, I wish you a happy Mother's Day. But it's not just mothers I'm wishing happy Mother's Day to. It's all the people that come alongside mothers and help us be the mothers we are, be the women we are, help us raise our children to be fabulous people. So I appreciate everyone that stopped by today. So as I was thinking about my 30th year as a mother, I had a few thoughts and reflections. First of all, I thought how very, very grateful I am. When Brad and I were first married, we had some infertility issues, and I was fearful that I was never going to be a mother. And as I said, I'd always wanted to be a mother. And as I say to people, whatever they fixed, they fixed. We ended up with 6 beautiful children, and I'm so very, very grateful. A couple of those children came as Mother's Day gifts. So besides Happy Mother's Day this weekend, we're going to be singing some happy birthdays to 2 of our kids. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But as I was thinking about motherhood and just some thoughts I had, some wisdom maybe, or some just reflections, I thought of 7 things. At least I probably thought about more things than that, but I wrote down 7 things. And the first one was about the importance of journaling. I am so glad I wrote down, kept a journal through all of these years, because I wrote down all those funny things the kids said. We think we're going to remember them all, but it's so easy to just keep gathering, and after a while, you don't remember them. Some of them become family vernacular. When I was a girl, my brother was really into the Guinness Book of World Records, and so that was a conversation that was at our house. And somehow the word genius also was a word in our house. And one day my sister announces at the dinner table, "I'm a Guinness in math," which meant she was a genius. She did really well in math that day. And so Guinness in math has become kind of one of my family's vernacular. And so that's, those kind of things, they happen, they get said, and they're repeated often enough that we don't forget them. But then there's those other funny things that the kids say that are hilarious, that if you didn't write them down, you wouldn't remember. Or you could have someone like I do, my dear friend Mary, who we emailed back and forth the funny things her kids would do and the funny things my kids would do, and she saved those emails. I'm so grateful she did, because it's nice to have another person who's helped keep a little bit of family history. So maybe just take a couple minutes every day and write down what's going on, what happened that day. One of our family vernaculars is one of our kids didn't say L's very well when he was younger, and so he would refer to his 3 sisters as the Gers. And so every once in a while I'll say, "The Gers are coming, home, or coming over." And so, just it's fun to have those things. But if you journal, you'll get to take a look back at some of those other things that are easy to forget. Something, kind of along with journaling is taking pictures and videoing. Back when I started raising my kids, we didn't have cell phones. Now it's so nice. You just pull out your phone, you take a video. I've got like 1 billion pictures and videos of my granddaughter, because your phone's right there. But when our kids were younger, it was pull out the big video camera and video. And Brad was great at videoing the birthdays, the Christmas, all those highlight kind of things. But we got to noticing that we weren't getting videos of everyday living. So I actually put it on my weekly to-do list, was to video something. And so then I was getting videos of the kids sitting and coloring, or a video of the kids, out shooting baskets or something. So I was so glad that I was intentional about that. So I want to encourage you to be intentional. And with the beauty of the cell phones, we can snap a picture and we have it right there. Like yesterday I was at a baseball game and got to talking about our puppy, and I was able to, pull out my phone and, show the person the picture of the puppy. I wouldn't have been able to do that years ago when, I had to take the film and have it developed, put the pictures in a photo album, etc. But there's something else I want to say about that is I want to encourage people to print some of the pictures at least. This morning when I was in the family room, I happened to look up on the shelf. One of my main decoration themes is pictures. I have lots and lots of pictures out of my family. And I love seeing them because it gives me like a little flashback to a memory. So the one picture was of Zach and Sasha sitting out in the snow out in our side field here. And they just are grinning, and immediately I went back to, that was such a fun day. The kids had gotten out the sleds and a kayak to sled ride down the hill. And we just had a blast that day. It was maybe only, a half hour, 45 minutes of time. But having that picture sitting on the shelf, I got to relive that half hour time. I was, we had fun. Who'd have thought to get a kayak out? My son did. And we'd go down in the kayak, laugh, laugh, laugh. We laughed even the whole time, even when we ran into the trough with the kayak. Fortunately, nobody was injured and the kayak didn't crack. But so maybe print out a picture or two, put it on the Christmas pictures I think are important. I have a Christmas picture for every year that, not every year we've been married. There's like 3 years missing, and I set those out at every holiday. But I like that. But I also like those snapshots of just a random moment. So maybe think about printing a picture today. So another thought I had when I was thinking about motherhood was taking every opportunity to say yes that I can to our kids. We have a large family. I wanted to say yes as often as I could. If they wanted to be in 4-H or they wanted to be in this, I liked being able to say yes. We were intentional about saying yes to a lot of activities because I never wanted my kids to feel bad about not being able to be in activities because, they came from such a large family. So I made sure, as often as I could say yes, let's do that. Let's go and do that. We did. And did it make for a crazy, crazy schedule? Absolutely. Was I a little Lulu sometimes? Sure, because, juggling, getting this kid to the here and this kid to there and, coming back around, picking everybody up, having supper. But that was a season. It was a short season. And so I'm grateful that we said yes to so many things. But the flip side of that was there's times that as a mom, as a parent, you have to say no. And one of the things I learned from my dad was, he said, when you say no, mean no. And I really chose to embrace that. And if I had to say, we're checking out at the grocery store or whatever, can I have this candy bar? And if I said no, I meant no, and I had to mean no. And I have fabulous kids, so I can't make this all about that I was so good at doing this, because my kids just didn't badger. If they asked, can I have that candy bar? And I said no, they didn't ask me again. Somewhere along the line, they learned that when I said no, I meant no, and it was nice. It's hard for us as parents to say no to our kids. We want to be able to say yes to everything. But when we have to say no, that no has to mean no. Otherwise, we have to say no 5 more times before the no's accepted. And now I've had to say no, 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 and that feels so much more negative than one singular no. Or the other thing that can happen is you say no the first time, and then if they ask 3 or 4 more times, you say yes. And now the kids got a confusion. Did mom really mean no, or have I just learned that if I keep asking, she'll eventually say yes. I am not a person to give unsolicited advice. I'm not going to, commentary on that with anybody. I'm not going to be standing in line and hear a mom say no to the candy bar, and then 3 more asks later she says yes. I'm not going to lean forward and say, now you told your child no, you should really stick to it. I'm not going to say that. That's not my business. We as mature mothers, as people that have been there, done that, they're not looking for that. Nobody's looking for that kind of commentary from us. So I don't like to say that, to anyone. But if you're watching this video and you've chosen to sit here, can I suggest for you young moms, maybe make it a practice to, when you say no, just mean no. And that way you'll help your child understand that you meant no, and that there'll be something else you'll say yes to. But on this instance, this occasion, you meant no. And when they learn that young, it's a whole lot easier. Because, if my son knew at 7 that when I said no, I meant no, now that he's 17, he'll still know that if I say yes, yeah, you can go do that. He actually just, messaged me right before I got on here. Can I go and get a smoothie with some friends after school? I was able to say yes to that. But maybe, if I needed to say no, he would have gone, okay, I come home after school instead of going and getting a smoothie. So anyhow, I don't want to get too preachy here. So anyhow, that was just something I'm grateful that my dad, was talked to me about, and that that I took to heart, that say yes as often as I can, but when I say no, I'd have to say no and mean no. Something else that I think is super important as I reflect back on motherhood is the fact of praying for my children. It's there's so many things that are out of my control, out of our control as mothers, as parents. So going to God and saying, you love these children way more than I do. And I've talked to God about this. I've said, I love these kids pretty crazy. Imagine, I cannot imagine how much you must love them, because you love them more than I do. But anyhow, so I pray regularly for my kids, always have. As adults, I think reaching out and asking them how I can pray for them is an honor. You get a little bit of insight of what's going on in their world, and you can intentionally pray for them. My husband always had us pray before meal times. That was just, dinner didn't start till after we prayed. I appreciate that he made that part of our family dinner time. One of the things I as I was thinking about that, I regret is I did not make it a nightly habit of sitting down next to my kids on their bed and praying with them at bedtime. So again, I'm not trying to be preachy. And again, I don't like to give advice to people unless they ask me for it. So I'm hoping since you're here, that's giving me permission. If you've got children at home, young children, any age children, sit down and pray with them before they go to bed at night. I wish I had practiced that habit. I do have a dear friend who prayed with her children at bedtime every night. And I remember when we'd visit and she'd do that, I think, oh, I'm going to do that from now on. And I just never developed the habit. And I truly wish I had. So I'm glad she did. And for all you moms and parents out there that do that, keep it up. I'm happy for you. You're blessing your children. And so keep it up. Okay, so I said I had 7 things. So the next one I had on my reflections list was promote dad well. I have not always done this perfectly. I'm very human, just like we all are. But what I mean by promote dad well was important. My husband is a fabulous person. He can do so many things. And promoting him well would be putting a spotlight on all the great and wonderful things about what he does, who he is, how he is, all that kind of things, and really spotlighting that, and not put a spotlight on the things that aren't perfect and awesome and fabulous. we have to remember our daughters are going to compare all men to their dad. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that I think, my daughters are going to marry someone just like their dad, but they're going to compare, or they're going to reference their dad with each person they meet and each person they consider for, a life partner. So my husband fixes everything. He's super duper handy. So I'm sure as they meet, as our daughters meet people, they're going to think everybody's super duper handy. Everybody fixes the car and, does all the things that my husband can do. And so, again, they might not look for someone exactly like that, or they might decide, well, he's not a Mr. Fix-It, but he's got these 5 million great qualities. So, but it's what they're going to see as this was what they grew up with. On the flip side, this is our son's primary role model as a man. And it's so important. Again, my sons aren't going to grow up to be exactly like their dad. Your sons aren't going to grow up to be exactly like their dad. Their own personalities, their own likes and dislikes are going to be part of, who they are as adult men. But this is their role model. And so, again, I wish I'd done this more perfectly, better. But promoting and highlighting the good parts of dad is a gift that we mothers can give our children. So I thought about that one. That was another one I thought. And so then I also thought about something for us gals was get a hobby. Right now, if you're in the trenches, as I call it, when kids are little, or you're, everything, kids are, a major, you give so much time to them. I'm kind of on the tail end. I only have one still at home, so I have more time freedom. I understand that. But I've always had a hobby, whether it was gardening, reading, cross-stitching. I just recently, in the last few years, took up knitting. But always have had a hobby that to enjoy. I think it's important for ourselves to have something to do that we enjoy. That's an time for ourselves. I think it's important for our family to see that mom too gets to enjoy, things that give her joy. So have a hobby. What it might be for you could be running, it could be gardening. I always recommend knitting because you know me, I love knitting. But whatever brings you joy, make some time in your schedule regularly to enjoy that. Your family will be happy for you to take that time. You will be a better wife, mother, woman for taking some time to take care of you. It's never selfish to take care of you. If you're looking for a permission slip to take care of you, let me write you one right now. You are a valuable treasure, and you need to fill you up too, so that you can continue to pour into the people you love. So find a hobby, and it's okay if that hobby costs a little bit of money. And again, I'm at a little bit further down in the life stage. I wouldn't have bought the beautiful yarn that I buy now 10, 15, 20 years ago because it wouldn't have been in my budget. But if we buy the expensive baseball bats or this or that for everybody else, it's okay to spend some money on ourselves. So again, you know your budget, I know my budget, we know what life stages we're at, but it's okay if it costs a couple dollars to enjoy what you enjoy. And okay, so here's the last thing that I had thought of, and not necessarily the last thing I'm going to say today, but the last thing I thought about for parenting is include your kids in everything. And I might be alluding to chores here. Yes, I am. Around here, our kids have helped us with all the stuff. I tell them this is part of being a family. This is Team Misco, where we do these things together. And I think it's important to include the kids in the fun stuff that you do. We go on these vacations, we do all this fun stuff, but including the kids in the everyday tasks is very important. I believe that this is what I tell the kids. Right now, you might be helping me. I'll use my son that's going to help me with spreading the mulch today. Right now, you might be helping me spread mulch, but what I'm really doing for you is teaching you work ethic, pride in taking care of your home. I'm actually giving you something that you will take out and have an appreciation for, or the benefit of, much longer than spreading this mulch here for me today. My husband was very intentional about wanting our children to have a good, strong work ethic. So we included them in doing jobs. So here was one of the things that it made me smile this morning when I was thinking about it. When all the kids were at home, we didn't have a dishwasher until much later. And we would do this game after dinner. So there's 8 of us, we're cleaning up, after dinner. And so it could have been a long, miserable task that, nobody really wanted to help with, but we made it a game. So we actually called it playing the game. That's the name of the game, playing the game. So after dinner at our house, everybody had to carry their own dishes over to the counter to get washed. So that was how we'd be wrapping up dinner. Everyone would carry their dishes over, and then we'd start the game. I'd make a sink full of water, dishwater, and I'd start washing dishes. Now there's probably some in the drainer from lunch or something anyhow. But the game was, there'd be one person clearing off the table, putting stuff away, and then there'd be me washing dishes, and then a couple kids helping dry and put dishes away. So here's the game. So I wash dishes, they dry and put away, and if they could get the clean side of the sink emptied before I added more washed dishes into the strainer, then they won the game, and they were done. They were free to go. Now, this lets you know how fast everyone's going to be working. I am washing dishes fast enough to feed the dish strainer so 2 or 3 kids can wash and put, or dry and put away. We're going through this process of cleaning up dinner like, lickety split, because, I'm realizing that they're hustling, so I'm going to hustle. We're having fun. We're getting to spend some fun time together doing a job that had to be done, and we would play the game. That's just a fun memory when I was thinking about it. Now, whoever remembers washing dishes? Here's one thing I used to really dream. I used to dream that Brad and I read some story in some magazine back when, you're in your teens and you think you're trying to create this vision of your life. This husband and wife, the wife would always wash the dishes and the husband would always dry and put the dishes away. And, they'd talk about their day and their dreams and all that. I used to think that would be fabulous. That didn't work out in our house. That part of that, whole painting this life dream I'm going to have didn't work out. But I had played the game with my kids, and I have to say that was a good invention, that we had that fun to play the game. So maybe if you have lots of dishes and you've got some kids at home, you could instill playing the game too. Annie for how. Let's see. Couple things. That's kind of the end of my thoughts. I'm sure I had more thoughts, but those are the ones I wrote down. So maybe there might be a part 2. Probably not. No, you probably heard enough. Again, I hope I didn't come across preachy or anything like that. That's not my intention. My intention was just to share some thoughts with you today. I've had some people, so one of the things we say in YouTube world is like and subscribe to this channel, and I've had some people ask me how to do that. So below this video, you'll see a thumbs up for a like or a thumbs down for a not like, and a subscribe button. You just tap on those. So I was walking someone through that, and they said, well, now it says I have to sign into my account. And that's one of the things I'd like to say here. You have to have a YouTube account in order to like and subscribe. So how do I get a YouTube account? You will click on the little profile there on your phone or your tablet or what have you, and click sign in. If you have a Google account, you have a Gmail, that is the same account you will use to create your YouTube account. So it'll ask you to put in your Gmail address, and then your password. That's your Gmail password, and that will create you a YouTube account. And then you can like and subscribe to not just this channel, but any other videos that you watch and you like and you want to subscribe to. So if you haven't done that, I hope you will. And before I head out this morning, I'd like to thank some people in my life. First of all, I'd like to thank my mother for being a beautiful, beautiful example of motherhood to me. Thank you, Mom. I'd like to thank my mother-in-law. I'd like to thank my grandmothers. I have some wonderful aunts I'd like to thank. I've had some mother mentors in my life that I'd like to thank. I'd like to thank you all for helping me grow into the mother that I am. I'd like to thank my husband for being a fabulous partner. It's been wonderful being parents together. I thank you, honey. And then I'd like to thank some other people that have come alongside me, come alongside my family as they've grown and developed. I'd like to thank my sister. I'd like to thank those coaches and youth leaders that have been involved in my kids' life. Thank you for your part in helping my family grow. So on this couple of days before Mother's Day, I wish you all a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you have a chance to get out into some sunshine and enjoy your day. Until I see you again here at Kathleen at Home, be blessed, be grateful, and I'll see you soon.